All right, guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range with a couple different pocket gun offerings. We've got the new Ruger LCP2, and we've also got one of the older Ruger LCP Customs. So today, while we're out here at the range, we're just going to run some rounds through it and see how each one of them shoot compared to one another. And then we'll take a closer look at them, go over some of the differences, some of the new features on the newest version, and kind of where they made some improvements and all that. So for now, we're just going to load up and start shooting these things. So here we go, the Ruger LCP2 first. And had a hang up. And that's it. As you can see there, it did lock back on the last round shot. That's one of the new features of the LCP2, or at least the new magazines that they're putting out with the new LCP2. This one is one of the magazines that came with the custom, so it should not hold back. So we'll shoot this one next. Now that round that we had the hang up on, it looked like it was a failure to feed, and I don't know if I was riding my thumb on the slide, maybe slowing the velocity down or something, so I'll kind of watch where I'm holding my hands on this small of a gun. So let's just keep shooting. And again, as you can see, that magazine there did not hold the slide back on the last round fired. So now let's switch over to the LCP Custom, and this time we are using some of the Ruger extended magazines, the +1 magazines. We'll see how these work in the Custom. So here we go. Okay, that was all of them. It did not lock back. And again, this is another one of those 7-round extended magazines. And I got these steel targets set up at about 12 yards, just so you guys kind of know what I'm shooting at. And so far, this little gun is kind of throwing them in there. Okay, and again, didn't lock back on the empty mag like all the older LCPs. So that's all the magazines I have here loaded up. So let me load up again and we'll keep shooting these things. All right, so we got the magazines loaded back up, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but their ammo we're using right now is some 90 grain PMC bronze stuff. And after we shoot these 4 magazines, we're gonna switch over and use some of this Sig Sauer 100 grain full metal jacket stuff. And actually, this is the stuff that I got from Big Johnson Guns and Gear. This was included in the giveaway that I won on his channel. And if you haven't seen his channel, I'll leave links or cards, so go over there and check him out, subscribe to his channel. He's got an excellent channel. So we are going to have the chance to shoot this stuff. So we'll switch to that after we shoot these. So this time, let's go back. We'll do the custom first, and again, using those 7-round extended magazines. So here we go. Okay, fired all of them. All right. Okay, so as you can see, even though these are pretty small guns, it's really not having any issues hitting those targets there at 12 yards. The one target I'm shooting is a 12x16. Or something like that, a little bit bigger, but the 2 others are 8-inch rounds. So not doing too bad for this this small pocket gun type. I say that and then I miss. Okay. Last magazine here of the PMC bronze, and then we'll switch things up. And as you can see there, that was the magazine that came with the new one, and it does lock back very nicely. So let's reload with some of this SIG ammo and see if the performance is any different. Okay, so let's try the SIG ammunition in the LCP2 first and see if we get any type of performance difference out of it versus the PMC bronze. So here we go. And lock back again, and I can sort of tell that it is a little bit hotter probably, but nothing, no big major differences. Maybe just a little bit hotter, and shooting good so far. Okay, we did have another, okay, I know what I'm doing. We did have another failure to feed, but I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. But the magazine is actually starting to pop out. And I thought I felt it do that last time, so I think this is my fault. And I am hitting the magazine release while I'm shooting. So I'm gonna definitely have to, reposition how I'm holding these little guns, because I am causing the issues. So I'll try to keep my fingers and thumbs away from that mag release and see if we have any more of those issues. Okay, doesn't lock back. So let's go ahead and switch over now to the custom and see how the SIG ammo does in this one. Okay, so now I have noticed that with this custom model, and it does have different sights on it than this one does, but I have to hold more towards the top of the target to get hits with this one, whereas I can just hold pretty much center mass with the LCP2 to get hits. So, I don't know. It is different sights, so maybe you do have to aim a little bit differently because of the sights, but I do have to aim towards the top of the target with the custom. Okay, so there's all 4 mags with the SIG ammo. Let's load it up one more time, and I'll try to keep my fingers and thumbs or whatever's hitting that magazine release away on the LCP2 and see if we have any more issues. All right, round number 2 with the SIG Elite Performance 100 grain full metal jackets. And again, this time I'm gonna try to keep my fingers and thumbs or whatever it was away from that magazine release to see if that is the issue, which I really do think it is. Not so much with this custom, definitely with the new 2, but no issues with the custom so far, but let's just go ahead and keep shooting. Yeah, see, that time I tried to aim center mass again, to maybe it was just me and how I was pulling the trigger, but I missed. Yeah. Definitely got to aim high on the target with the custom model. Okay. Now back to the LCP2. And hopefully I can keep my fingers out of the way and not drop that magazine. And again, when I first started shooting, I was holding where I was with that one at the top and missing. This one is hold about center mass. Okay. No malfunction, just didn't lock back, had the old mag in it. This one is the new mag, so it should hold back. And yes, it did. No issues there, keeping my finger away from that magazine release. So those 2 issues that we had, I'm fairly confident that that was all me, not the gun. So let's load up one more time and shoot these things a little bit more. Okay, so for these last 4 magazines, we are back to the PMC bronze. We did shoot all the SIG ammo. So I guess we'll tell if we can see a difference going back to this stuff or not. So here we go with the LCP2 first. And we did lock back. I don't know how well it's going to come across on camera with the recoil and stuff, but it does feel like this PMC bronze stuff is a little bit lighter. The SIG ammo does feel a little bit more on the hot side compared to the PMC bronze, but not much, if any, but I can feel a slight difference. Okay, now on to the LCP2. All right, final magazine. All right, guys, so that's all the ammo that I brought out here with us today. Now we're gonna move inside and compare these two, go over some of their features, some pros and cons, differences and stuff like that. I'm definitely not doing it out here because I just checked the weather, and here in Indiana, it is a cold 7 degrees actual, and with the wind chill, it's in the negative. So I am ready to get inside and warm up a little bit, and we'll take a closer look at these 2 pistols. All right, so now that we're not out in that freezing cold weather, let's go ahead and take a closer look at both of these pistols and look at some of the improvements that Ruger has made to the new LCP2. Now, before we start handling these things, these both have been safety checked. There's no ammo out here anywhere, so we are good to go there. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but both of these guns are borrowed from a buddy of mine. He got a hold of me a while back and said he got the new LCP2 and also had the custom, and asked if I wanted both of them to do a versus video and also show you guys the new LCP2. And of course I said yes, and big thank you to him for letting me borrow these. Now, before I went and picked these up from him, I have not had any experience at all with any of the LCPs, the originals all the way up to the new 2. Never held one, never shot one, nothing like that. So I was completely new to this going into it. And I have to say, after my week or so of experimenting with these guns, I can really see why people go for these, for the deep concealment gun or pocket carry or backup or whatever. Very, very small, lightweight pistols, and I can see why people want them. Now, the funny thing is that when Ruger announced the new LCP2 and I started watching some reviews on it and seeing what people had to say about it, everything was really positive about it, and I was really thinking hard about picking one up for myself. But again, like I said, I'd never tried any of the LCPs and I didn't know how it was going to work out, so I was kind of going back and forth. And then he got a hold of me, said he got the new one, and asked if I wanted to try it out. So, definitely glad I did, because I do see the appeal with these, and I really did like it. So let's go ahead and start comparing these things. The LCP Custom is going to have a couple differences from the original LCP. You got the red aluminum trigger, but as far as I know and as far as I can tell, the trigger pull is the same. You just have the different trigger shoe itself, and then you're going to have these raised replaceable sights that are much higher than the original and even the new 2 model. So that's really the only differences that I'm aware of with the Custom and the original. The grip and the slide and all that stuff are going to be the same. So here's a quick look at kind of what you got on the originals. Now on the new one, you're going to see that they pretty much changed all the features on here. You give it a completely different look. You are going to have front cocking serrations now, which I really do like. I know a lot of people could care less, but I do like having those, and I do think it gives the gun a better look, but that's just my opinion. The grip, as you can see, does have a different texturing to it, different design to it, and I think that is an improvement. Now here you're going to see, compared to the original, that the new one here on the right is a lot wider there in the rear. And what they have done is they've taken these panels right here on both sides and kind of widened them both out. And in my opinion, I think it works out great. I didn't have any issues really with the custom, but when you put this one in your hand, being how small that these things are, even with my small hands, this one just felt super tiny in my hand. But when I grabbed this one, having that little bit extra mass there on both sides, it fills your hand up just a little bit more, and in my opinion, makes it a little bit more ergonomic. But as you can see, the texture is extended onto the magazine, and again, everything's kind of mirrored on this side. Now, one thing with the LCP, you can see we do have the magazine in. It does not lock back on an empty mag, whereas the new one, as you can see, it does lock back. Now, that's not a gun thing, it's just a magazine thing. They changed the follower in it to engage the slide stop. I don't know, I think that's probably why they changed the slide stop. So it might be a gun thing also. I might be lying to you on that one. They did change the slide stop, and maybe that was so the new follower could engage that. Actually, let's try it real quick. We'll put the new magazine in the old gun. No, it does not lock back. So I lied. It is a gun and magazine thing, because you can put the original in this one, and you can see it does not lock back. So it is a gun and magazine thing. Okay. So that is one new feature. It does lock back on the new empty magazines. And another big thing we're going to take a look at next is the trigger. So let's go ahead and take a look at the original trigger pull first. You're going to have a longer, heavier double action pull. So you're going to have a little bit of take up there and a longer double action pull. And then your reset, you're going to hear that click, but you can see I can't pull that. That is not the actual reset. You have to let it all the way out to the second click, and then you can pull the trigger again. It does have around a 7-pound pull on my trigger gauge. And now the new one, as you can see, it does have a different style trigger. It does have a more of a Glock style trigger with that trigger safety there on the center. So you're going to have your take up, you're going to hit a wall, and then a nice crisp snap. And again, this was breaking around the 5.5 mark on my Lyman trigger gauge. And then the reset right there, and then your snap again. So the trigger pull is lighter. The trigger pull is, there's less distance after you hit the wall. The reset is much shorter. So in my opinion, if I had to pick a number one favorite thing between the two, it's definitely going to be this trigger. Very, very good improvement on the trigger. Now this one is a single action pull, where the old one is a double action pull. So that's sort of how they lightened it up and was able to make these changes to it. But you know, really, really good trigger for a gun this size on the LCP2. So that's a look at most of the features. So let's go ahead and I'll show you guys how to break this thing down real quick. We'll go ahead and do the LCP2. The breakdown procedure is the same on the custom. So what you got to do, take the slide, push it back ever so slightly, then you're going to have to get behind this little pin and pop this thing out. Just use a screwdriver or some other small tool. Get behind there and just pop that out like that. Pull it all the way out, then you can remove the slide from the frame. Pull out your recoil spring and make sure you hold on to this, because it is not a captive guide rod. That comes out, and then your barrel is going to come out just like any other standard semi-auto pistol for the most part. And then you can take your guide rod out, and as you can see, it is a double recoil spring setup. And then putting it back together is going to be pretty much reverse order, but I guess I can go ahead and give you a look down inside there. All the machining and finish and everything on this is very well done. No rough edges or tool marks or anything like that, so very well machined. So just drop your barrel back in, recoil spring and guide rods back in. Maybe. Just like that. Return the slide to the frame. Pull it back again ever so slightly, and then you're going to have a little metal bar in there, or a little spring deal in there, and that's going to hold your pin in. So just kind of go at an angle, rock it in there so it gets past that little spring, push it through, and you're back in business. So you are going to need a tool to disassemble this thing. It does take a little bit of pressure to get that out, so I don't think you're going to be able to do it with like your thumbnail or something. So not hard to take down, but you will need a tool. Now, one other thing I do want to cover about these magazines. Out at the range, you probably noticed that I was only using the +1 magazines in the custom. And as you can see, go in there, lock up just fine. but they will not fit in the new LCP2. I mean, you can take it and hit it. Well, actually, that time I got it to lock, but it does not want to stay in there. You can push on it. And what the deal is this little piece here on the bottom side of the new 2 is a little bit thicker, and it hits the bottom of this safe, or the floor plate, and doesn't let this thing go in all the way. And the buddy I borrowed this from actually said that, you know, if he smacks it real hard and does get it to go in like that, you fire a couple rounds and it'll pop out. It's so tight. So the extended magazines don't work in the new one. But if this were mine, I would probably just take and file this down a little bit to where it would seat in there properly and run it that way. But it's not my pistol, so I will not be doing that. It does come, both of them do come in these just white cardboard boxes, which is pretty much the same thing, your paperwork, lock, all that type of stuff. The new one does come with a nice Ruger pocket holster. The custom does come with this little zip up pouch, so that's what it's going to come with. But anyhow, guys, there is sort of a closer look at the new LCP2 versus the originals, and in my opinion, I think all the stuff that they did to the LCP is definitely an improvement over the other ones. Where, I mean, the old ones, like this custom here too, and the originals, I mean, they work just fine, you know, in my experience with that one. But just the extra features that they added to this, the nicer trigger, the locking back on an empty magazine, I think it's all features that, at least in my opinion, are big improvements. Now, after my experiences with these and the new stuff on the LCP2, I do think I'm going to go out and get one for myself to have for a nice pocket gun, deep concealment type thing, backup gun. It shot great, especially for a little gun, and it feels good in the hand, shoots good. I can see the sights, just fine. And I think it would be an excellent option for anybody looking for a really small carry gun that they can stick in their front pocket, a nice backup gun, whatever. I think it's an excellent, excellent option, the new Ruger LCP2. And I do think it's worth the extra cost over the originals, which isn't much, maybe $30 or $40 depending on where you look. In my area, these are going for $269, and the originals are going for, I don't know, maybe $219 to $239 depending on where you look. So not a whole lot more money for the new LCP2, but I do think you're getting your money's worth in these new features. But anyhow, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions or comments about this video or anything else you see here on the channel, ask those in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to get back with you. And as always, I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate everybody subscribing, and we'll catch you in the next one.